Warriors, it's Miss Setfight coming to you with episode 5 of Check It Out. I've had a few students tell me they enjoy these videos, but they wish they were a little bit shorter, so I'm going to do my best to keep this one under 5 minutes, but still tell you a bit about 10 great books you can request from Book Hub. The first book I want to tell you about is a really fun supernatural thriller. This book is called The Book of Lies by Terry Terry. It's from 2016. It involves twins separated at birth who only find out that they're twins when they meet at their mother's funeral. This book has a ton of surprise twists, lots of family secrets, and a good dose of the paranormal, which I know many of you will enjoy. The next book I want to tell you about is The Honest Truth by Dan Gemeinhart. This is a wonderful 2015 adventure. For those of you who enjoy books like The Fault in Our Stars, I think you would really like this book. In this book, Mark is a terminally ill teenager whose parents and friends have really been trying to care for him. He wants to discard their offers of help and just do what he's always wanted to do, which is climb a mountain. So he and his beloved dog, Bo, take off without telling anyone. They travel to Mount Rainier and begin a very treacherous and life-altering climb. Great book by a wonderful writer. The third book I want to tell you about is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. This is a Newbery Honor book, a lovely novel in verse that was just published last year. The main character in this book, whom you see on the cover, travels from Syria to Cincinnati as a refugee, and this lyrically written, beautiful refugee story I think will really stick with you if you read it. This book, Obsessed by Allison Britz, is a memoir. It's from 2017. It's just a few years old. When Allison herself was 16 years old, she had a nightmare that she had cancer. That horrible nightmare led to sudden onset obsessive-compulsive disorder, where Allison's brain began telling her all of the things she needed to do to avoid cancer, like not bathing, only wearing certain articles of clothing, not walking certain places. Allison's life crashes. Fortunately for her, her family is able to figure out what's going on, brings her to a psychologist who's able to help. If you've always been interested in OCD behaviors and the disorder, this would be a wonderful memoir for you to read to find out more about Allison's experience. This next book, White Rose, is a wonderful pick for those of you who love historical fiction. This came out last year in 2019, and it's based on the true story of a young college-age woman named Sophie who was involved in nonviolent resistance during World War II. Beautifully written, really engaging story. It's wonderful to see how this author brings alive Sophie's story for us to enjoy and appreciate. Wilder Girls by Rory Power is a 2019 sci-fi horror book. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but if you can stand it, this book is about a plague called the Tox. In this book, which is set at a boarding school, the teachers begin to die one by one. The girls who remain become infected and are turned into something quite monstrous. The woods outside is filled with dark and scary creatures, and the remaining girls are left to fend for themselves. I've had a few students return this and say, that was good, Miss Setfight, but it was pretty dark. So if you're in the mood for something pretty scary, this would be a good read for you. In the Shadow of the Sun by Anne Sibley O'Brien came out just a couple of years ago. It's a political thriller and adventure story. It's set inside a place we don't hear very much about, which is North Korea. Mia and Simon are the children of a relief aid worker who is allowed inside North Korea with his children. He's arrested. Mia has access to a photograph that should not be seen outside of North Korea, according to North Korea government officials. They have a big job to do. They have to try to rescue their dad, get this photo out of the country, and get themselves out safely. This is a really thrilling read. For those of you looking for a romance, this romance, The Beautiful Lost by Lou Anne Rice, came out just a couple of years ago, 2017, realistic fiction. Maya struggles with depression, particularly since her mother left. She and her love interest, Billy, decide to road trip throughout the East Coast in order to find her mom, try to build that connection. But it turns out that Billy has some secrets and some family history of his own that he'd rather not share. Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany D. Jackson came out last year. It's a mystery thriller. Three friends have unearthed the musical history and collection of one of their deceased friends who was a brilliant hip-hop musician. They take his music, they rebrand it under the name The Architect. It becomes wildly popular. But as these three friends are involved in promoting their friend from beyond the grave, we discover each one has a secret and may have been more involved in the death of their friend than we know. The last book I want to tell you about is an award-winning, probably future planning. This book will probably win many more awards because it just came out a few months ago, but it's already showing up on a lot of bestseller and award winner nominee lists. It's called When Stars Are Scattered. It's by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohamed. Again, came out just a few months ago. It's a graphic novel and a memoir. The author, Omar Mohamed, shared his story of his refugee experience from Kenya with Victoria Jameson, who's a very well-known graphic novel creator. She wrote Roller Girls. She also wrote All's Fair in Middle School, for those of you who are big graphic novel fans. This is a beautifully illustrated and written story about Omar and his brother's refugee experience from Kenya. I think you'd really enjoy it if you like graphic novels and you like memoir. Okay, I'm not sure if I got it down under 5 minutes. I tried. I hope you enjoyed these book talks. Again, request any of these books on BookHub. We'd love to get them into your hands. Take care.